How much money does it take to start a business? Well, you know what? I've started 16 of them. I've helped with hundreds. I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it. As entrepreneurs and business owners, we know that if we have a clear plan, anything becomes possible. And if you can have a clear plan, a clear process to create that plan, and a way to create clarity with your partner or spouse, you can drive to amazing heights. All right, so if you're thinking, hey, I want to start a business, but I don't know how much it costs, I can tell you that there are ways to go through and do this with virtually no money in a lot of cases. Not always, or very, very little money. It has never been easier or safer to go out and build a company and build a business, figure out what you want to do, vet it, and decide where you want to go. But you got to go through and you got to follow certain steps. You've got basically 6 steps that you've got to go through every time to make sure you've got it dialed. So when you do this, and this is the long answer to how much money does it take? Well, first off, you have to build a plan. And actually in my book, Aspiring Solopreneur, and at our courses at aspiringsolopreneur.com, we actually go through and we'll show you step by step by step how you build an amazing business plan. You'll do it without even really realizing you're doing it. But to start with, you need to figure out, making sure that the business that you're defining, what you're looking at, is it going to fit with the lifestyle that you're looking for? Number one, we invest a lot of time and energy with that. Once you do that though, as you step into it, how do you build and surround yourself with a team of advisors? And you can do this with zero money. When you go out and you start with finding a great small business accountant, followed by a great small business attorney, a small business banker, small business insurance agent, small business marketing person, these people will start and they will give you advice, quality ones will, for no money. They're looking at this as business development for their end on how they can invest time and energy with you to say, yeah, is this person going to be a good client, a good fit for them in the long run? So when they do that, it's really going to help build a great team. So the first step is building a plan, and to do that, you need a team, and you ask lots of questions. What else do I need to know? What are the areas that are out there? When you find an accountant who happens to be working with other people in maybe the similar type of industry, there's a lot of times that they're going to know a whole bunch of people. They're going to have some good ideas. They're going to say, hey, make sure you look at this for your insurance, look at this for your taxes, make sure you take into account this, and a healthy company is going to have this sort of margin. They're going to be able to give you a lot of advice. A good small business attorney will say, yeah, this is typically the type of structure you may consider. That'd be ideal. It could be a subchapter S, it could be a sole proprietor, a variety of different things. And this is what it's going to cost to set those up. Not that big a deal. So once you start doing this, you start building the plan, and then you start to build the team. Then you're going to start going out and you're going to do a lot of research. Now remember, you still haven't spent a penny yet. You haven't invested $1 except for your time. And when you start doing the research, you're going to go out and how are other people currently solving this problem or providing this service? Look at those things. Look as if you were a potential customer and see how others are solving it. You're going to learn a tremendous amount from this. And at a certain point, you may get introductions from your team of advisors, of people who are currently doing it, or you can actually just start calling and talking to people to learn how are other people doing this? How are other people researching, deciding what this is? How are other people solving it? Now, the next thing as you go through with this, and I'm doing this very, very high level, but as you go through, you start building that plan with a great team of advisors, and you start really digging in and doing the research. You're going to get to a point where you feel like, I have a pretty good idea what this is really going to take. How much time, how much energy, how many dollars, what's it going to take to get in there? And again, a lot of times it's so much less than you may think. The next step is going to be to figure out, how is it I can make sure this is a no-brainer? Now, when I say no-brainer, what I'm meaning by this is, basically, when you are so comfortable with what this is, would you be an idiot not to do this? Let's go a step up further. Your brother-in-law, who you kind of like, came to you and said, hey, I want to borrow $5,000, and you had $5,000 you could loan to start this business. And they could show you what it is so well, you'd be like, wow, I'd be an idiot not to invest in this business. You want to be able to put that no-brainer hat on and say, wow, this is great. I mean, it's there. And I promise you, when you do this well, you can find these types of opportunities. So some of the ways that you're going to come out of it and make for a no-brainer and will come out of your research are different potential ways that you can even finance. So something that would make a no-brainer to me would be, let's say in your research you found somebody who's already doing this and you talked to them and said, yeah, I'm interested in maybe doing something similar. And I'm looking at this and they're like, God, you know what, kid, you want to do this. I like working on these types of projects and I get people that call me on these projects. I don't want anything to do with them. I'll just give them to you. Really? Some companies will do that. In other places they may say, yeah, I'll give them to you and I'll subcontract with you. And I tell you what, I'll subcontract with you and you give me, and I'm going to keep 10% and you do it and you get the 90%. Well, in those cases, you may even be able to work under their insurance to start with. You may be able to come in and no questions asked. The day you start, you've got enough coming in that says, yeah, I'm more than covering my costs. I've replaced a good chunk of my income and I'm only working 20% or 30% of the time. That to me starts to make it a complete and total no-brainer. Now we talk about other ways in the book at Aspiring Solopreneur and in the courses. In the courses we've got interactive PDFs and a ton of videos that are very specific in each one of these steps. But as you go through and do this, it's kind of like, wow, if it's a true no-brainer, then you're going to be ready to pull the trigger. Now the last thing that you have to keep in mind is you have to make sure that you have the personality, that you're going to be willing to be the boss, but also be the one who holds yourself accountable. But when you do this and you're wondering, how much money does it take to start a business? A lot of times it's not nearly as much as people think. So when it comes down to this, if you can build a plan and be really clear on where you're going, use a great team of advisors to refine that plan, and then research the daylights out of it to a point where it's like, wow, this is a no-brainer. I'd be a fool not to do this. That you're like, yeah, let's pull the trigger. When you do that, the amount you invest should be minimal to the amount you see in return almost immediately. So ideally, you found some value with this. If you did, please subscribe. Check out some of the other videos. If you have questions, you're always welcome to reach out to us at aspiringsolopreneur.com. Keep smiling.